it's so consistent, these areas, that they are your gifts. They are the things that you bring because you are definitely imprinted with that energy. It's meant to always be there because where we're consistent is where we're affecting others. We know that our definition is what is affecting others, and it's what
Mm-hmm.
they're seeking out. I mean, that's what draws us together. Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, Human Design Specialist.
And I'm Haley, the Human Design Newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design Hive Podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, good morning, Haley. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. Is it morning? Okay, yeah, it's still morning. I had to check the time on my
Yeah.
desk there. Certainly it is for you.
Yes.
It's creeping towards midday for me, but so good to have you back. And
Oh, thanks.
again, we never introduce ourselves again once we're here together, but we welcome you listening here to the Human Design Hive Podcast with me, Dana, your host, and Haley,
Hi.
my lovely daughter and co-host. We are broadcasting across the country here. I'm in South Carolina, Haley's in Colorado, but next weekend, coming up soon, we'll be again in the same place, but we'll be in North Carolina together.
Yay.
You want to tell what we're doing?
Yeah. We are going to my brother's wedding.
Oh, that's so sweet. You said my brother. Okay, so everybody don't panic. Ian didn't suddenly get married. We talk about her brother Ian all the time. This is your I've been calling it bonus. He's my bonus son. He's your bonus brother.
I've kind of always in my head seen him as like kind of my adopted brother, but now I've just started calling him my brother. So
that's so sweet. Yes, so almost a twin.
Almost, yeah.
Yes, actually, Haley and Hunter are only 2 months apart in 1 month apart in age. That's right.
Yes.
1 month apart in age. And yes, Hunter did. I think we mentioned it once or twice. He did spend his high school years splitting his time living with us and living with his grandmother. And it was fun. We've always somehow managed to be a household of 5 because then you guys moved out and then Lakeland moved in. And so we always joke because your dad and I, because when we first got together, your dad and I, both of us were clear. We were not interested in marriage, traditional family, none of that stuff. Like, forget it. Came from a divorced family. I mean, his parents were married and they always, up until the end, they were together. Both have passed now. Obviously, we talked about that, about spreading their ashes. But I just was not interested in marriage coming from divorce home. And he just said he was like, obviously, we were young. Why would we want to get married? I was like 19 and he was 23. We were like, nah. And then he always said he would never have kids. Didn't want to bring kids into this world, which is the greatest irony of all because he's the best dad in the world, right? He just shines as a dad. Even in his bad dad moments, as far as weird things he does, what do you call it? Ill-timed comments, bad dad jokes, all the things, but 100% heart. But anyway, so I only have one sister, but he has 4 siblings. And so when we did come around to maybe talking about having kids, it was always like, I was like 2 max. I don't want an only child. I want them to have a sibling because they need to have somebody to talk to about us, about how weird we are. Right?
Yes.
That's what you do. You got to have a shared experience with someone. I mean, no shame on anybody who's the only child, but that was just my perspective because my sister and I, why we did fight a lot when we were younger, because she's like 4.5 years older than me. She's one of my best friends. And I remember I'd always tell you and Ian that you guys are going to be each other's best friends one day. And you are. So right. Just saying. But your dad was like, no, if we're going to have kids, I want to have a big family. I was like, I am not having 5 kids. Forget about it. So I said maybe three, maybe, because your Aunt Karen has, three.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, if you have two, having three is not that much difference.
That's one more.
What's one more? So anyway, so we had you, and you're just an angel. Just
Thank you.
came straight from the heavens,
Aw.
landed in my arms with your natural golden highlights in your hair that you were born with. Perfection. Just perfection. And then we had Ian, who is the love of my life as well. I love that boy so much. But as a baby, he had a little more
Spunk.
demands. Yeah, he had a little more demands from me. He was a little more demanding than you are, let's say. Always wanted to eat, always cried. Horrible startle reflex. Kid was scared of everything. Um,
Oh,
oh, he was. He was a little baby. Oh my God, it
oh,
was so terrible.
I can see it. There's this
Oh,
one picture of him that I'm thinking of that I'm pretty sure is his startle response.
yeah. And it was so unfair looking back because you were just so perfect and beautiful. And he was too. I just didn't see it. I was so tired and stressed out, because I look back now at him and I'm like, oh my God, look at him. He was so adorable. He was so sweet. But in my mind, I was just like, I felt like it was just, he was a lot. And now,
Well, you've always told me that he wasn't happy until he could like literally walk and follow me around. Like that's when he was finally happy.
he's a 3-5. He was ready to get moving and like poor thing. And yeah, so your brother, he was, because I nursed both of you, and he was just like always hungry, and I couldn't get enough. I was just like 4 months in. I remember being in the middle of the night looking at him. He's like, "Rah, rah." He's just so unhappy because I just can't produce enough for him. And I said, you better enjoy this. This is the last time I'm ever doing this. And you're both fine. You're fine. Got him on formula. He was happier. You could fill him up more. But anyway, so the reason I brought that up was because your dad was like, I want a big family. And I was like, maybe two. And then three. I'm like, no. After I had your brother, I'm like, no. I'm like so tapped out. I can't imagine doing another one. And we agreed that, yeah, we got a nice little family unit, And then we eventually ended up having three in the house when you guys were older. And Hunter came along, and then gosh, we actually kind of have 4 kids, I guess, because we have Lakeland now too.
Yeah.
She always says to me, she's like, I can't believe this is my like home. This is like where I live.
Aw.
This is my home. I'm like, it is your home. Yeah,
Aw.
this is your home. This is your forever home. Don't live here forever, but it's what you can call home.
You can always come back, but don't live here forever.
It is your home space. Sorry. So that was I don't even know why I brought all that up. I lost my train
Well, we
of thought
started
other
out talking
than
about
brother.
what we were happening this weekend.
Yes. Dear Hunter's marrying his dear sweet Lexi in Asheville, North Carolina. It should be a lot of fun. It's at some
like retro RV resort. It's something like that. Like they
sounds
have
really
like
cool.
old Airstreams all over. Just
Yeah.
cool.
Should be nice. At least it'll be cooler than here. So but you guys will be there. Presley, Ian's in the wedding. He's one of the groomsmen. You've now been asked to participate in the wedding as well. What are you doing?
I am reading a poem.
I can't wait.
I have a mantra that I keep telling myself.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
I am strong, I am confident, I am capable, and I can do this.
You can.
And it's really helping me stay calm about it.
Well, you should also, while you do that, you should tell yourself that while you're tapping. You can tap through the points, and it helps anchor it in a little bit more. You can just tap while you're saying that. And then if anything comes up that doesn't make you feel strong or confident or whatever, you can do it. It may come up, but then you can help process it and release it and lock it in there. I've been tapping a lot lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's nerve-wracking for you to, one, get up in front of people, and two, read something out loud, right?
Yes. I gotta spend the day reading it out loud because I haven't done that at all.
Is it very long?
It's like 3 stanzas. It's a poem by E.E. Cummings.
No.
There's like a lot of parentheses and there's one sentence that I'm like, my brain can't wrap around what it's trying to say.
Little verbal gymnastics there.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense. So I'm like, I just got to read it.
Well, we can practice it when you see each other. You can practice in front of us because, you know, I'll try to keep Nancy from laughing at you. She won't. She's very supportive.
No, I know.
But speaking of the tapping, because I just mentioned the tapping. So I just want to share this moment I had earlier this week because it really shows to me how, one, we don't realize a lot of times things we're still carrying around with us that we think we've resolved, or there's just things hanging on in relationships or whatever. And two, how our mind can get in the way and derail us. Okay. So what had happened was I was looking at my phone. I don't remember if I was like texting someone or whatever. I can't remember. And a call came through. It popped up on my phone. And it was my ex-boss that I work for at the flower shop, Lori. And I immediately I almost threw the phone down. I was like, oh, what does she want? She wants something from me, right? And I don't know that we've talked about it too much here, but we all know that I quit working there back in December. I was like, enough. Wow. But it was supposed to be temporary when I first started working there. And I did not know about all this, really digging into my human design. I had heard about it because this was like 5 years ago or so, but I wasn't actively really involved in it. Right. And so I believe I entered into this relationship incorrectly. So, yeah, because I felt pressured too. It was like I had other income, but it was also just side income. And this was just going to be a little part-time thing. And we said, we'll just see how it goes. We'll just see how it goes. And so it was just supposed to be part-time. And then over the years, it just became more and more. And I eventually just ran my life around this part-time job. Because still the hours were 20 to 30, 25, 30.
It was part-time, but it was like full-time.
It was because there was no one else to do my job when I wasn't there. So it felt like a lot of pressure. And for years, literally, I had been like, I have got to stop this job, but I didn't know what else I would do. So really, really formulating this plan and idea with the human design business had really come about and things started moving. And I was just like, I just have to stop this job. So it took a lot. It's embarrassing how long it took me to end this stage of the relationship because I really cared about her and she's a nice person and she really needs my help. But I also know human design enough that I was able to get her design and see, well, no wonder she needs me so much. She's a projector.
A burnt out projector.
A incredibly burnt out projector because she has no concept of, and she's just always go, 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 go. And I know it made it easier for her when I was there. And because I'm also pretty competent. But anyway, so I literally like, oh, what does she want from me? Because I have a hard time saying no. As much as I want to preach about boundaries and, you've got to have your boundaries and you got to follow your sacral, like talk about a full body sacral. No, like hell no.
You're trying to literally escape it. You're like, no. Startle response.
It put me into a panic. I am embarrassed to say, not really, but it literally like shot my nervous system, just went haywire all of a sudden. And I was like, oh my God, what does she want? And what is she? And immediately I went to, I got to make up an excuse. I can't do it, whatever. And then I was like, oh, but she's going to say, oh, I just need this little bit because she did that to me Mother's Day, a little bit. But I swore I was never going to do it again. And I realized, oh my gosh, I was like panicked. So I let it go to voicemail, got up, went and did something else, came, sat back down, decided, okay, I can't listen to this in this state. So I started doing some tapping and started tapping about like all these things that came up. And really I was afraid of really compromising myself and what I wanted to be doing, which she has no concept or understanding of what I do, but I knew I had things I'm working on, but to her, it's just not imperative, right? And I didn't want to have to explain myself, but really, I just didn't trust myself to say no. I was so
Right.
afraid and I was feeling pressure and all these things. And so I got it mostly out, got myself calmed down enough to finally, like, okay, just rip the band aid off, listen to the message, see what she wants. Can't avoid it. So I look at the message, it's a minute and a half long, and I'm like, oh my God. So I start listening to it and I didn't hear anything at first. And then I realized, oh my God, it was like a butt dial.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
She didn't mean to call me. I could hear her in the background talk to someone and a customer, whoever. And I was just like, oh my God. I totally put myself, and then I started laughing at the irony of it all. But then I was also like, well, maybe because I did all that preparation and clearing and everything before, maybe it turned out to be nothing. Who knows? In the quantum, you know,
Jumps timelines.
maybe I jumped timelines. Maybe she did want something. And then I just laughed at the lessons we receive and how we handle experiences. But this is what progression and growth looks like. It's like you have these moments, even when
Mhm.
you are sure of what you want and like how you want to be, that is going to keep showing itself to you. I don't like to say testing or anything like that because I don't
Mhm.
feel like we're like tested or punished or any of that stuff, but in a way, you know what I mean. And so that was just my little story because yeah, and then she never contacted me again. It was totally, I was like, well, maybe she meant to and she's going to call me again. No, didn't need me. Didn't
Thanks,
need me.
brain. Thanks, brain. Trying to
Thanks,
make shit.
brain. Brain and all your fears and your spleen coming up at once. So that was my funny story. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that with anybody who's has those moments of panic. I definitely recommend tapping,
Yeah.
even if you think you don't know how to do it, just do it. So that's why I share it with you as well. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have some kind of effect. That's what I love about tapping. Even when you like don't think it's working, you realize after the fact, no, I guess it did work.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not
I
as
remember
freaked out.
the only time I've done it was when you led me through it. When it was, I think, probably having a panic attack about going to work on the boat because it
Yeah.
just stressed me out so much, and like shit worked.
Yeah, it does. It is. It's one of those cool things.
Doesn't make,
So
I don't know how, but it does.
it just well, we can go into that. We have gone into it before, but we won't
Yes.
now. We'll kind of try to get over to what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, an actual topic of conversation, not
That
just
was topics of conversation.
yeah. So I have been thinking about this for a while and just how to go about kind of touching on it. But we talk a lot about definition and gates and all this other stuff and channels, but we never actually like talk about channels, just like what they are and the significance of
Mm-hmm.
channels in your chart, because it's one of those things we kind of take for granted, but it is like literally the building blocks of the whole system
Mm-hmm.
are these channels, because it's really where your channels are the parts of you that are the basis of everything that you are and everything that you are not as well,
Mm. Okay.
because channels are what creates definition in the
Right.
chart. So that being said, what is a channel?
Mm-hmm.
What would you
Oh,
say a channel is?
I mean, it's obviously where two gates are connecting, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess I kind of see it as like almost this flow of energy, like
Mm-hmm.
free flow of energy between the two
Yeah,
halves.
it is. It's like you might have a gate in the G center that connects to the throat. And what that does is it gives the G center access to that throat energy, which that throat energy is communicating and manifesting everything. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we say like channels to the G center from, or to the throat from the G center, are very personal. They're very, because they are the heart of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so it gives those gates on the other side access to the other energy within that other center in a way. So it does, it is more than just two gates lighting up. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you have the energy of one gate and another, but when they're connected in that channel, it does create this flow of energy because we talk about circuitry, we've
Mm-hmm.
talked about in the chart. And that's what, when you're looking at the body graph, you're like looking at a circuit board. It's like, I always
Yeah.
think of the old school, even like
Switchboard.
telephone operators. Yeah, they used to connect this
I
and
don't
that
know
one,
how the hell that
which
worked.
I know, which would be to me more like a transit. It's like, oh, we're going to
Oh
hook you
yeah.
up with this one now, and
Yeah.
then we're going to hook you up over there.
Mm-hmm.
But different in the sense that one gate is usually just connecting to another gate, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
randomly connect to one on the other side of the body
Right.
graph. But
Yeah.
so the
I
channels direct the flow.
Yeah, I kind of see it's almost like it's because you have the energy of the one gate and the energy of the other gate on the other side, but then it's like it's almost like a third version of the energy when they're connected because it's like this melding of the two.
Exactly. It is a way, a third, because you can have the defined gate without the other side, and that makes it behave a little bit differently than if
Mm-hmm.
it's actually connected to the other side. And so, yeah, so it's the circuit board, it's how things are wired and how the energy is meant to flow in your chart. And being that it creates definition, meaning it creates type, it's the thing that
Mm-hmm.
helps us, when I first look at a chart, the first thing I usually look at and see is the definition, where they're defined and where they're not, because that's what stands out. You've got the colored
Mm-hmm.
parts or you've got the white parts, right? It's like either it's colored in or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing I always look at is the sacral center, if it's defined or not. And if it is, I'm looking at where it's defined to know if this person is a generator or a manifesting generator. So if I can see a direct connection to the throat right away from the sacral, obviously that one channel, manifesting generator. But you then have to look at other channels this person might have to see if, well, maybe they're not directly connected there, but maybe they're still a manifesting generator by having another motor connected through a
Mm-hmm.
channel. So I'm looking at sacral definition, looking at throat definition, and then you're looking at, generally for me, if they're emotionally defined or not. So I start looking at the definition first. And when I first started reading charts, I had to like look at the thing and say, and have it tell me what the type was. But as you look at it more and you get familiar with definition,
Mm-hmm.
you can just right away see where these connections are through channels, and it helps you understand that. And, these are the areas where these channels are the places that are permanently and consistently functioning in your chart.
Mm-hmm.
Consistently is the key because it's hooked up, right? Okay,
Right.
even if it's defined or, I mean, not defined, conscious or unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
it's flowing no matter what.
Right.
Whereas if you have gates, those are only going to, especially in undefined centers, are going to be inconsistently in a way. I mean, you've got the consistent energy of a gate, it's activated, but
Mm-hmm.
how it's going to behave is not always going to be the same
Right.
if it's not connected to a channel.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so it's always
And
functioning. Mm-hmm.
and even it's gonna be different even when things transit too, because it's gonna come across differently when it does finally become a part of a channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's also interesting because it's so consistent, these areas, that they are your gifts. They are the things that you bring because you are definitely imprinted with that energy. It's meant to always be there because where we're consistent is where we're affecting others. We know that our definition is what is affecting others, and it's what
Mm-hmm.
they're seeking out. I mean, that's what draws us together, all these electromagnetics. But this being this so consistent, anything, they always say it's like so obvious to other people a lot of times what your gifts or talents are, but it's so like normal feeling to you, you
Mm-hmm.
never see it. Often they say it's like right in front of you, like
Yeah.
what your contribution or your gift is. You just don't see it.
Yeah, it's so
And that,
familiar. You're like, this isn't special.
exactly, right? And so what happens then is that, well, this doesn't, it just feels, it's just you, right? And so since we're drawn to the open centers and we're drawn to those things because that's what we amplify and reflect back, we that's where this not self-identifying comes from, because and how we get into this trap of not understanding what our gifts and what we bring to the table, because we don't like feel it as much. We feel the other more than we feel ourselves because of our openness. And this is where you get stuck you start getting stuck in these what they call not self aspects of yourself, is because you're not seeing it. And that's why it's so beautiful to like help bring people into the system and show it to them and understand it, because little by little, like peeling away the layers sometimes of conditioning, they can start understanding that energy more and know that that is what you're here to share. And that really, just by leaning into that more through just trusting how your energy functions, mainly your type and your strategy, authority, that will naturally start to express more without you worrying about it. Because that's what those channels are, really who you are. And that's your, if you think about, that's how you're meant to be, because that's, you know, you came into this world at a specific time in a specific place and imprinted with that specific energy to be a contribution to the whole. So it's the key to your health and your vitality, your happiness, all of it, because that's what we're here to discover about ourselves. It's so silly. It's like you are what you are, and you spend your whole life trying to be something you're not. But
Yeah.
that's why we bring the system for it. And this is why Ra always said that, you know, the system was for the children. If we could start teaching children about this early and how their energy works, and specifically these flows of energy, then there's less temptation to identify outside of yourself. And parents can like see it in their children and handle them a little bit better. I mean, talking about your brother, Ian, if I'd known he was a 3-5 as a baby, and that, like you said, I always said that as soon as he could like move on his own, manipulate the world on his own, he was so much happier. And it's funny because just now talking about it, I never made that connection to now. I know I've said that, and I know I meant that about him. I just feel he's independent, and he is. But now when I think about it, oh my gosh, his line 3 nature was just excited to like.
So let me touch it. I want to touch it.
Oh, he did. Yeah. As soon as he could crawl and then walk, his whole demeanor changed. He just like, he was such a happier baby. Such a happier baby. It was him not being able to do what he wanted to do as a baby, and he needed to rely on other people to do it for him. He didn't like it. And then you, as my little darling projector, was so connected to me. You're like into me all the time. You're like, Mommy, what can I do to help you? Oh, thank you. So anyways, so yes. So your power is in your consistency, your power, your definition, your you, it's all in your channels. Even if you have only one channel, and the only people that don't have channels are obviously reflectors. They don't have them consistently. They get the flavor of them, but their openness is their consistency, their ability to sample the world. Yeah, because even a lot of people want to say, well, I only have one channel, which you can have one channel and be any of the other types. But, you know, I feel like a reflector, but still that aura is going to be different depending on where
you have a
defined.
definedness.
Yes, there is a definition of you that is going to always be consistent, which does not make you a reflector. And reflectors have this built in, it's almost like because they're that mirror, their energy is designed more to sample without taking so much in. But I digress. So since we're talking about channels, we're not going to talk necessarily about reflectors, talk about everybody else. And so it's your gifts, it's what's in your channels specifically that makes you different from everybody else. Because if you think about it, what creates the definition is the placements, right? The planetary placements, not just on the day you were born, but that roughly 3 months before, the unconscious placements. Because like you, one of your channels, definitions is all unconscious. But then also, those gates, even though we don't see it on the body graph as in the channel, we do see it on the sides, the placements, like what line that gate was in.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that creates even more of a flavor. So you could be, your 18, if I were to look at yours, your 1858, that channel, if I can see it. So 18, line 2, 58. Where's my glasses?
Wait, I got it.
58's line 4.
4. Yes.
Yes. So that is going to be, there's so many combinations. Other people could have 1858, but they could have them in different lines, or those lines could be flipped. Like there's so many variations. So you can see where that is going to be unique to you because of the lines, but also because of the rest of the definition in your chart, how that's going to play out. Because even 1858, but you don't have the other completion channel, the circuit, the 4816 above it. So even somebody who had the full circuit, that 1858 is going to play differently. So it just shows you how you're unique with it being unconscious and the different lines you're in, and you don't have these other definitions. That's what makes you unique, is because of how it's configured in your design. Did you ever think about that?
No.
No, of course not. You've told me you don't think about any of this when I'm not talking to you.
I'm getting better.
I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing you. Okay, so then if you think about it, like I said, if you live according to your type and strategy as a projector, that gift of yours is going to be more naturally called out, and it's going to be affecting others in the way it's intended to, in a more, let's say, positive or higher vibration than in a lower vibration. If you're always forcing and out there looking for, demanding people recognize you, that 1858 is going to play out a lot differently. That channel of judgment is going to feel a lot different to people, and it's not going to be received well, right?
No.
But when you are honoring, how you operate in your energy, then when certain recognitions come your way, you're going to be recognized for the things that you want to be recognized for. And that's important, because we're going to talk a little bit about channel types and all this other stuff. So yeah, just letting go of expectations of how that energy is going to play out, and just trusting, if you follow your definition, how your type and how you're meant to interact and how the channel is meant to interact, then it will play out the way it's meant to. So this goes back to the whole, like, you're the passenger, right? You're just in the vehicle, which is, here you are in this form, in this time. You're not supposed to be directing the energy. You're just supposed to be observing it and allowing it. And to do that, you just follow your strategy and authority and allow yourself to be kind of led through life in a way.
Yeah.
Which Ra would put it down to such simple terms as like, oh, you have no choice. It's just mechanics and blah, blah, blah. Well, you do have a choice. You can, like, not do it or do it, right? It's like, you can make it harder for yourself or whatever, but
yeah,
ultimately,
you can fight it or you can embrace it.
Yeah, ultimately the purpose here is to reduce the resistance in your life and allow yourself to live a little bit happier and freer and just trust in the process.
Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah.
Sounds real great.
And as we discussed, it's not a one and done thing. It's always happening. It's always occurring. And it's, I think, in each moment you have those choice moments, choice points, whatever you want to call it, where I do believe the universe will present you with options, and you always have a choice of how you're going to respond, or, whatever. So anyways, one thing I know I get a question a lot is because, well, since there's all these channels, nobody has all the channels. It's not possible because of the maths.
The math.
Yeah, there's 32 channels. Yeah, I mean, you can have all your centers defined, but yeah, you're not going to, like, have everything. Now you could, which I say, when you're in a room with somebody, everything can line up depending on what their channels are. They could have all the channels you don't have. Woohoo! So, so if you only have I think we talked about this a little bit in electromagnetics, but it's worth saying again, obviously, I should say it many times, is that as I said earlier, we are attracted to what we don't have. Because if you think about it, we're all meant to like collaborate and bring our contribution to the whole, which is seriously what we're moving into, this new paradigm of where it's not just certain people who do all the work and certain people lead. It's like we're learning that we really do need to all like honor each other's uniqueness and work together. It works a lot better that way.
Yeah.
We don't all have to work as hard if we're just doing the part that we're here to do. But anyways, so if you only have one gate in a channel, like I said, you're more likely going to be attracted to people who have the other end of that gate or the other end of that channel because it's trying to lock it up.
Wants to make a channel.
Yeah. But how you experience it is not going to be your unique way of experiencing it, depending on how this links up. So, case in point, let's say if you have, say you have a gate in an undefined center, right? And then you meet someone who has the other gate, maybe in a defined center, depending if they're like, there's going to be a dominance a lot of times of how you experience it. If your undefined gate hooks up with somebody who has it, it creates definition for you, but it's going to have definition through flavor that's also kind of flavored by how they experience it all.
Because they have the center defined. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And then also if, you're in auric contact with people who say you have one into that gate and they have the full channel, you're definitely going to feel it more, experience it more, how they experience it. And that's where a lot of, case in point, you and Presley. So like that 6124, right? You have,
okay.
You have the 61, it's in the head. It's that knowing circuit.
Oh, yes.
But you don't have the 24 and you have it unconsciously defined. So you have access to it because you have a defined head in ajna. It's on. However, your husband has the full channel. And so it's going to be more dominant when you two are together. That's how you have that sense of like, I know these things, but I can't get them out because your definition is in the abstract, the more experiential side. And so you're like, I can't access all the things that I know or I've experienced in that moment because when you're together, the dominant energy is through him. And it frustrates you a little bit because you have all your head center gates, but only one of them is connected to the ajna. And so it's meant to function in different ways. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Not one other thing. Also, as I mentioned a minute ago, same as we talk about electromagnetics between gates, there is certain electromagnetics between channels in the sense that, like I just said, you having that 1858 is going to function differently with the 1858 and someone who has the full circuitry going up to the throat. It's going to be experienced differently. And also, you are probably attracting people who have 1648, but maybe not the 1858. It's like you're interested in there because that's his mastering talent. It's the 1648 is the talent. The 1858 is the refining of the talent, the process. Like 1648 is the talent. Yours is like the process, like how it needs to be refined, right? And so there's a attraction in the world with people who have that other channel because they're interested in your process. Say if they don't have that 1858, they're interested in how you could help them refine their talent. And you're interested in or are directed towards people who need that processing that you're really good at being able to see where they could refine their talent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Same as with me, as far as electromagnetics, I have the 8, but I don't have the full channel. But I do have the 14-2 connects the sacral to the G. I don't have the 1, but I have the 8. And so that one gate is very much pulling me through as I go around in the world towards people with talent. That's why I say a lot of my design is about recognizing the talent in others and bringing it forth, and also feeling I lack that. It's not my creative expression necessarily. It's me helping others bring their talent. I mean, it is my creative expression, but it's highlighting their talent or whatever, because having that 14 too, also energy behind that, it's really like geared towards helping recognize others and understanding that they have something to bring forth and unique and whatnot. So just another thing I wanted to mention, because I debated on whether to bring it into this episode, but I think I'll just touch on it. And if people want to know more about it, we can maybe do a more deep dive into it. This could be just an introduction to it. So there are different types of channels. There's 3 different types of channels. There's channels that are manifested, generated, and projected.
Oh.
Think about that. So I sent you some pictures. You have some pictures of the different channel types. So first of all, I want you to look at the ones with the blue lines.
The blue.
Okay. So looking at the body graph, and if you want to see what I'm talking about, if you watch the video, you can either go to my website or go to YouTube, and you can find this episode, and you'll see the visuals here of what I'm talking about. But these channels here that you're seeing are manifesting channels, manifesting energy. Why do you think that would be?
Because they're coming from the throat. They're connecting motors to the throat.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. Look at you.
Look at me.
Connecting motors to the throat. Yeah. And it's only 4 channels. Okay. So it's the 3420, which connects the sacral to the throat, which is a little bit different. But the other 3 that are definitely always identified as manifested channels, the energy there is manifested energy, are the 4521, the 3536, and the 1222, because those 3 channels come from the throat over to the will center, ego center, whatever you call it, which is a motor, and then to the solar plexus, which is a motor. And so that means that these, the energy moving through these channels has a theme to it, just like a manifester as a type has a theme to it, which is anger. They call it the emotional theme, or the not self theme is anger in a manifester. But it also means that when using this energy, there's a strategy involved as well of informing. And so this is energy, since it's a motor to the throat, means that this energy can act independently. It is energy that is experienced in that way. The 3536 is collective energy. The 1222 is individual energy. So they express a little differently, which we could go into more detail in another episode. But basically, it means that the energy in that channel can be experienced when it's not being used correctly, can lead to anger, even rage, and some of these things, because there is this the manifestor strategy is to inform, right? Is to allow people to know what's going on. And if it's not being used in that way, then things can happen. You feel rushed, or you're into the wrong experiences, or you're disrupted, all these things. And so they do carry those themes of energy there, which if you have those channels, you may be familiar with. So then if you look at the next picture, which has the red channels, those are the generated channels. And that's basically every gate, if you look at it, that comes off the sacral center is a generated channel. And why would that be? And what does that mean?
Because the sacral makes you, if you have to define sacral, it means you're a generator. So then it means you can just go.
Sort of.
Just go.
Sort of. I mean, it has that sustainable energy, but what do we know about the sacral energy? How is it best used? What is the strategy?
Oh, wait to respond.
Responding. So that means the energy in this channel is accessed correctly and used correctly when it is working in response.
Yes.
So it has to have something not asked like a actual formal asking, but it has to be responding to something. Right. And so like that manifested energy in those other channels can just get into action. This energy here is used more correctly when either it is directly responding to someone's request, or just responding to the signals in their body to something in their outside environment. Walking down the street and suddenly you see a new cafe, like, ooh, I want to go over there. Okay, you can follow that, see where that goes. That's responding, or someone calling you to you. Oh, no, no. Because definitely in that moment, if I went against what my body was telling me, my energy of how it works correctly in my generated channels, it would not be a good experience.
No.
And so, yes, so that's not initiating energy. Even though it has that sacral energy there, it's not initiating energy. And so you'll notice that on both the manifested channels and on the generated channels, that's that one channel, the 3420, which is a manifesting generator.
Yes.
So that's the little distinction there. That's what makes you a manifesting generator if you have that defined. One of the things, I mean, you see that channel defined, the person's a manifesting generator. But it means that even though it has manifesting energy, it can get into action. It has to be in response to something first. That's the correct use of that channel's energy, is responding, moving. It's fast. It doesn't have to respond and like wait for other signs. It just goes. That's why
Right.
people with
But
that
it does
energy
have
are
to
so
respond.
fast. Yes. And that's why, they just get up and leave the room.
Yes.
They saw something on TV and it reminded them, oh, I got to go do this. And they leave. It's like, no, where'd you go? You didn't inform.
It can also probably be construed a lot of times as ADD.
Yeah. Well, it's fast energy. It's the only channel. Every other channel that it is a very potent motor. They say that the root center is the most adrenalized energy. It's like that real shot of energy, that the energy that's in the root is so like adrenalized. It has to go through other centers. It doesn't connect directly to the throat, because that would definitely like
It
burn
might
someone
cause
out.
chaos.
Might cause chaos. And it's unpredictable and you don't know when it's going to hit. But the sacral energy has a process. It has to respond and then it can be used correctly. So then if you look at the next one, which seems to have all those channels lit up in green.
Yes.
Okay, so these are projected channels. What would that mean to you? A projected energy.
Projected, it's more focused on the other than it's projecting into someone else's energy and trying to help them.
But what is the strategy of a projector?
No, let's wait for the invitation.
Which, more importantly here, it's not the invitation, because that's for the big things in life. This is, it needs to be recognized.
Yeah.
And so if you notice on the chart here, if you look at what all these channels are, they're all the channels that connect to the root, to the solar plexus and the spleen. I mean, it's essentially none of the sacral gates, obviously, because we just talked about that. But all of the head gates, ajna gates, throat gates that connect to the G center, the spleen, all those, right? These are all projected gates. And we've talked about this a lot, about especially like that ajna to throat connection. It has to be recognized. People have to call it out of you, or else it's not seen, it's not heard, it's not welcome, honestly, a lot of times. And so that's where I see that a lot of people would say, well, my chart says I'm a generator, but I feel like a projector because this doesn't ever seem to work, or I don't like this, or this, blah, blah, blah. It's because a lot of times, everybody's going to have a mix of these channels. And if you look at the projected channels, that has more channels than any of the other ones in the chart, right? It takes up a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
In the
Got
chart.
a lot of them.
Right. And so that means that a lot of our energy and the way it's meant to flow is to be recognized by the other, which makes sense because we talk about these electromagnetics and being attracted to other people and them seeing our gifts if we're operating correctly, right? It will be recognized and it will be called out. Where life seems to not work and be unfair is when we're not responding, we're not waiting for recognition, and we're, if you have some of those manifested channels of not informing and succumbing to that anger. So if this is the, like, it's so simple and yet so complicated, fact is that 70% of the planet's generators. We're creating the energy of the planet. We've created the systems. We've created everything mostly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have that energy that does that. But we also have probably these projected channels. And of course, we have some generated channels. If we're not aware of how we're acting and how we're using our energy, if we're not responding and we're just like initiating, enforcing, and pushing, that's why everybody's frustrated, bitter, and angry.
Yeah. Excuse me,
So,
generators. Can you please get your shit together? Just kidding.
we're trying. We didn't know. We don't know. You're still 20% of the population
I know.
projector.
And we're the guides, so
That's
what have we
right.
guided you into?
Well, that's the thing is, what's really cool, I think, is how human design is coming so quickly and so fast now through people, and people are really like just really attracted to it. It's because we're ready. We're ready to hear
Yeah.
these things. We know it. We can feel it. We understand it's coming. We have the projectors to help us understand how to use this energy. But I just think it's really interesting when you look at the types of channels that you have. And like I said, we could do a whole nother episode on how it's experienced, because you look at the root to spleen, let's say, you're going to have individual channels, collective channels. Out of the sacral, you also have individual, collective, tribal. It's all going to play out differently, but it also shows you like how beautifully unique you are.
Yeah.
In the sense that there's just literally a billion combinations of how people can be. But I think this is really helpful if you're struggling with understanding your type and feeling that you're like another type as well. You're not. You are the type you are. You can't separate that out, because your channels are the consistent energy in your body and in your experience. And so you can't change that. You are what you are. But having an understanding of what that channel that makes you what you are, how it functions, that energy can help you also get in better alignment with your type.
I mean, it just shows even further you can be one type and feel like another type. It just goes even further to show that like we're meant to all be connected, because we all
Yes.
experience different parts of different things. Like I have like I'm a projector, but I have some of these generated channels, so it's like I can kind of get that
But you have
flavor, as we
access.
say.
Yeah. Well, you don't necessarily have the channel because as a
Yeah, I don't have
generator.
any channels.
But
Yeah.
when you're around others or in a transit, yes, you understand that that energy that you then hook up has to be in response. So, like, say you have that gate 9 we were talking about,
Yes. I
right?
think we're just looking at it.
You
Yeah.
have the gate 9. So having access, because you have no, do you have the other? Because you have the 52. You have the root.
I
center
have the
defined.
9 and I have the 60. That's all I have.
Oh, that's
going
right.
To the sacral.
Okay, I got you. So if you're in the presence of someone that has either the 3 or the 52, that connects your root to the sacral. So you have access to sacral energy, but you have to remember to respond, to use it in response to something outside of yourself, not your projector head telling you what you should do, your defined head. That energy to be when you're sampling it and having a good, or having access to it, responding. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll just
all
drop that
connected.
little insight in there today. And also just to say that there's the highest number of channels in the chart are projected channels. And so that does mean that we're all looking to be recognized, and that we also carry a certain bitterness within us when we're not being recognized. But like you said, it shows that we are all meant to collaborate and work together and to help each other, because we're all looking for that recognition. We in order to use our energy correctly, to be called out of us.
Yeah.
Especially if you're line 2 or line 5, all these things, right? So
all the other
layered.
layers.
So layered. So
It's like a 7-layer dip.
which I love. All right, so I think we talked about that. And, you guys listening, if you have more questions or you want us to go deeper in that, like I told you, we have on the in the apps now, the listening apps, the Apple and everything, right at the very top of every episode, you'll see it highlighted. Do you want to ask us a question or give some feedback? Just please fill that out. Ask a question. I would love to answer them for you. We'd love to maybe, because hey, I'm a generator. I got a lot of projected channels as well. You got to call it out of me. Ask
I
me.
got a lot of projected. I have a lot of projected hanging gates. I don't even have a lot of channels.
Yeah, truly. And, and also, I'm finding that as much as I want to prepare for things and know things and plan things out, a lot of times what I have to say, since my connection is to the ajna, comes out better when people are pulling it out of me, asking me, recognizing, this is what you have to say. And so that's what comes through when you have a reading with me too, is that I don't always know what's going to come out until we're there on the call together. I can prepare a little bit, but quite often when you show up and recognize me as someone who has something to share with you, I can bring it through clearer, and who knows what'll come up. You never know, but it's always what you need to hear.
Yes.
Or,
Source always provides.
That's right. So I think we'll just leave that there for today, Haley.
Yes.
You know what that means.
The Incarnation Cross of the Week.
That is correct. Today we are highlighting another incarnation cross. We do this at the end of every episode. A lot of people are very interested in incarnation crosses and what they are and the descriptions of them. And so there's a lot of them. There's 192 of them. And we have taken it on as our mission to highlight one every week at random, give a little synopsis, and hopefully you enjoy it. So, today's incarnation cross of the week is the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix.
Ooh.
One. There's four of them. This is one.
I was like, that sounds kind of familiar, the name.
Yes, there is four of them. They occur throughout the year. So right angle cross, meaning it's a
start, the profile starts with a 1, 2, 3, or you're a 4, 6.
Nailed it.
Yes. Don't ask me about juxtaposition.
That's right. It's the easiest one. Juxtaposition is the easiest one. There's only one profile. It's me, 4-1. So, so that means that your destiny in life is a more personal experience. You are, your profile's in the lower trigram, which is more about your own personal journey through life. Mm-hmm. And so your karma, they call it, whatever, is personal. Whereas the left angle cross is your destiny involves other people learning your lessons. This is more of a self-reflective kind of profile. But anyway, so we'll get into that. Okay, so the right angle cross the sleeping phoenix on the personality side consists of the sun in gate 59, which is intimacy, sacral gate. Okay. So, earth in gate 55, spirit, over there in the solar plexus. On the unconscious side, design, the sun is in gate 20, there in the throat, gate of the now. And earth in gate 34, power, and the sacral. So what do you know immediately about this person?
Sorry, it was intimacy. I had them all. Then you asked me a question.
55, 59, 55, 20, and 34. What do you know about this person? What were we just talking about?
Are they a manifesting generator?
Yes, they are. They are a manifesting generator. That is correct. And this is not your father's cross, but it is a variation of it. Okay. I think wait a minute. I think I told you wrong. Hold on. I did tell you wrong. This is not right angle cross the sleeping phoenix 1. It's right angle cross the sleeping phoenix 3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sorry about that. I do have that wrong. This is not the right angle cross 1. This is 3. Your father has the right angle cross the sleeping phoenix 1. But this is 3, which I knew it was not him because that's not his earth gate or his sun gate. So that's where I was like, let me make a note here in my notes. So when I put this later on into something else, another spreadsheet, I do it the right way and don't give you the wrong definition. Okay. Hang on. So 3. So that's in the third quarter.
Yes, which is the quarter of duality.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So themes of relationships. Okay, so if you were born under the writing across the Sleeping Phoenix 3, you are here to enrich the lives of others and help them grow, both in their personal and professional lives. You love forming strong bonds with those who make you feel happy and safe, which is key for moving forward, whether that's in starting a family, kicking off new projects, building relationships, or starting and engaging in other efforts. Your journey is all about understanding and sharing what real power means. You go with the flow of time, bringing people together around new ideas that can last and be sustainable. You're here to show others how to develop a strong belief in abundance and faith and use it to guide their actions and decisions. This belief or this faith helps you know when to act for the good of everyone. Your goal is to gather people around new ideas and values that support creating and working towards sustainable, plentiful resources and peace. This alignment paves the way for ideas that contribute to a more sustainable and abundant world.
Always so good.
And there you go. And I don't know. I know we're moving into 2027 across the Sleeping Phoenix, but I guess it starts in the first, obviously, one. I guess I say that obviously, but I don't obviously know that because I'm second guessing myself. But overall, these are the gates, these are the themes in certain orders. These 4 gates are this next paradigm that we're moving into, is a combination of these themes, which, hello, you can kind of see it, right? It's about timing and being present and waiting for the right time and using your personal power, creating these
having faith,
creating these relationships that are beneficial for everyone, and they're real and they're deep, and you want everyone to prosper. Like, that's why when everybody's like, "Oh, the world's a dumpster fire," I'm like, I don't, you know what? I'm in a different reality, I guess. I'm delusional, whatever you want to call me, but I see it differently. And I hope that if you're listening to us, you see it differently, you're beginning to see it differently, that there's a lot of possibility. And hey, shift timelines with us. We're like welcoming everybody to come along. And maybe you'll help us shift a few as well. So anyways, we so appreciate you. We do want to say real quick, I probably should have said it earlier, so if people don't make it to the end, but I'll make an announcement again. I think we are going to take a week off of publishing here at the end of June, just because we do have a lot of stuff going on. And again, it's still just me editing and putting everything together. I'm a one-woman show here. I have a co-host who helps bring the charm and the energy, but just taking a little side break. Might do it again in July. We might have 3 episodes a month. I'm not sure yet, but so just be mindful of that, and we'll make sure that, don't worry. If we miss a week, we're coming back. We're going to be here, but we're just like you. Sometimes we need a break.
Yes.
All right.
Gotta get right.
Gotta get right. All right, Haley. Well, it was great talking with you today, and thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. And until next time, take care of yourselves, and bye for now, Haley.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.